Asan to? Asan? So, good morning everyone. Magsugod na ko. So, writing strategy. So, what is writing strategy? Means a sequence of activity in which writer engages in planning, composing, and revising their works. So, there are three important components to consider: the readership, the scope. Three important components to consider: the readership, the scope, the purpose, and objective. So, amo na siyang ma-discuss throughout sa among report. So, ako kay readership ug scope. So, first kay analysis of readers. Analysis of readers is an important to report writing as a game plan to a football game. You must decide on your intentions in writing. What do you want to communicate with? What level of writing is appropriate? So, unsa kinsa imong gusto paabton sa imong writings o unsa na mga butang imong ibutang sa imong writings. So, na mga important na mga dapat i-consider. Ang readership is your intended audience. So first, what is readership sa? So, readership is simply means the person or persons, organizations to be reached the technical writing. So, readership is your intended audience. So, katong mga readership, katong mga tao na gusto maabot, kung kinsay gusto imong maabot, kinsay gusto nimo maabtan sa imong writings. Mo na ang readership is your intended audience. Next is the intention of your report determines readership. So, imong purpose, objectives kay inline sa imong readership. So, imong mga purpose ana kay dapat nakakuan sa readership, naka-inline siya. Dapat kanang si tawag ani kanang ang leadership nimo is about anang tahay imong magazine kay about sa fashion. So imong leadership ana sa mga fashionista ra pud ang mga tao. So imong intention na imong purpose ana kay mga fashion lang jud. Next is the readership selected determines writing level. So, ang imong writing level is the level lang po sa knowledge sa imong readership. Example, if kanang kuan, architect na mga technical term. So, ang mga technical term ana, mga architect ra siya mabasa ana. Tapos pag ang civil engineering mabasa ang architect na technical term na mga architect. So, di sila kasabot ana. So, ang imong writing level kay ka level lang jud sa imong readership. Then, the level of writing must be such that it is understood and it is useful to all readers. So, as usual, imong writings kailangan proper o appropriate ang mga words sa imong gipanggamit. Tapos, ang grammatically correct na mga sentence na imong gipanggamit sa imong mga writings. Next kay selection of a circulation list. Your readership should respect organization, hierarchy, include contributors, sponsors, and potential users of your work recommendation. So, kani siya kay ma-discuss na siya sa further na report, pero ako lang siya ikuha na kailangan jud imuhang report kay magikan sa bottom to top para ma-correct pa ang mga error nimo or tama pa ang mga term na imong gipanggamit. So, next is importance sa reader. So, readership is important because kay sila raman ang maka-implement or maka-understood o maka-interest sa imuhang mga writing sa gipang sulat nimo. So kung imong sulatan og kanang ang mga tao like mga tao na kanang into business tapos sulatan nimo sila og kanang pang Ginoo. So dili sila maka kanang murag ka interest anang kuan nimo kay ilaha kay for business lang man jud. So katong mga sulatan nimo kay katong mga jusnon nga mga tao kung Ginoo imo ang sulatan. So ang important sa readers kay kanang sila ang kanang murag kanang maka-feel sa imong mga ipangsulat. So na yung mga example sa technical na mga writings like analysis of process. A report regarding analysis of the efficiency for an assembly line of single-use cameras. The line was not producing as many good cameras as claimed by its designers. He designed the line and determined that there were 3 troublesome workstations producing most of the downtime. If you are recommending a redesign of these stations, it is very important to reach the appropriate readers if recommendations are be implemented. Just sending a report to the boss will probably not do it. Part of your writing strategy needs to be identification of readers who can approve and fund recommendations. So, as I said kaganina, so ang mga readers na dapat yan mong hatagan sa imong mga report kay katong mga tao lang na maka-implement ug maka-support sa imong mga recommendations kung like atong gihatag ya sa boss, kung isa boss na naihatag wala may mahimo ang boss ana kay mo-approve ra man ang boss. So ang imo jong hatagan di katong mga tao na involved atong pag-redesign sa camera. So ang imuhang dapat lang jud hatagan di katong mga involved lang jud na mga tao. So next kay preservation of information. You performed a complicated study on the mechanism of silver plate out in emotion pumps. This problem has been plaguing the emotion handling department for decades. You learned the root cause and the cure. If you want this significant discovery preserved and identify readers who will disseminate it to people who buy, use, and repair pumps as well as to emotion formulators so that they can design out that chelating agent that catalyzed the plate out. Finally, see that the document is archived so that the future generation will know how to deal with this problem. The readers you select will determine if silver plate out problems will be eliminated because of your work. So pag-preserve sa imong information, kailangan maghatag ka atong, as I said kaganina, maghatag ka sa information ka itong mga tao na maka-implement o maka-support sa imong mga discoveries para sila mo document ato o kanang ma-use pa for the future generation na mga discoveries para dili mawala. Next kay sharing of information. In some consulting work, you learn that seizures of the spooling mechanism in films spoolers were caused by a change in suppliers for porous bronze plane bearings. The purchasing department changed supplier for lower cost and then did not bother to notify design engineering. In your study, you determined that the tolerance of bearings from the new supplier are such that a significant fraction of these bearings will end up with 1/5 the recommended operating clearance. These spoolers are used worldwide. You need to identify readers worldwide to remove the brand B bearings, replace them with brand A, and ensure that the purchasing department buys only brand A for these units in the future. So, ang imuang information kailangan mo abot atong mga taong nagagamit of brand B para mailisdan ang brand A. So, importante ang readers nimo nga imong hatagan na katong mga readers na gagamit og brand B kay para mailisdan to ng brand A kay ang brand A kay mas better pa sa brand B. Muna ang importance sa readers sa sharing of information. Next kay promoting change. You visited an outside laboratory and learned that its employees measured corrosion rates of metals. Immersed in solution by analyzing the solution for dissolved elements with inductively coupled plasma atomic emission spectroscopy, the laboratory can analyze from 60 elements in the parts per million range in less than 5 minutes. 3 laboratories in your company do this kind of testing but measure corrosion rates by mass change after long immersions. This system could reduce elapsed time from 30 to 3 days with greater accuracy and lower costs. You need to write a document to readers who can change their corrosion test are run. You also need to convince them. So, sa promoting change, so, pras ani niya, nagagamit sila lahi ng kanang dili better na mga test. So kung gusto nimo na mailisdan, magsulat ka og kanang writing para magsulat ka og writings kato sa mag-select ka reader na imuhang na mas na ma-implement niya ang change sa ilahang test run. Okay, kung iyata di mo sa laing tao magdugay pa siya to kung maihatag siya sa laing tao kay dili na siya ma-change dayon og anong basig malahi na pod ang kuan, malahi na pod ang intention nimo sa malahi na pod ang intention nimo sa ilahang kuan, sa ilahang masabtan. So if kanang kailangan og promoting change, so mag-select jud kag tao nga wait lang. Kung kailangan kag change, so mag-select jud ka atong mga tao na maka-change jud sa ilahang test. Documentation of work. You completed a 6 study of plastic for moving cans. The present cans were when heavy rolls of film jostle in them. The wear particles can contaminate the film. You performed extensive laboratory tests screening 15 different plastics and then had prototype cans molded from 5 candidates. Further testing was done in full-size vibration test. You found a plastic that will solve the wear problem and have reams of data accumulated from the virus test. Now you want to order your raw data and distill it into a document that will recommend implementation of the winning plastic. The right readers can make your recommendation happen, and you will have documented your results in a way that can be archived and used by others. So, as I mentioned kaganina, so kanang mga readers na imong gi-select para sa imong documentation, maka-implement na sila kay ilaha man ang kanang ilha ng forte na kanang ilha ng mahimo or imong gusto mahimo nila para sa imong discoveries. So imong mga results makip na nila for future generation na mga discoveries pod na dili na mausab-usab pod og mga lain pang mga butang basig mahitabo. So next is selecting readers. Asa man tong mouse? Okay. So selecting readers kay ang mag-select kag readers that included all people who could benefit and from document and the people who help the work and people you want to keep abreast of what you are doing. So imong pag-select sa imong readers kay kailangan maka-benefit sila sa imong mga gipang sulat o katong mga tao nga appeal sa imong writings o katong mga tao na gusto mag-document sa imong writings. So muna siya, how do you select a readership for a document? Then press adding trip report. You should be sent to all who need to know what you observed and concluded from the trip. So if someone nga nag-send sa imong for trip report, so ito ka mag-send sa iya kay para imong observation o imong mga conclusion ma-record niya o mabuhatan niya code o basig mabuhatan niya report for further na gala. The next laboratory report needs to be directed to the department requesting work and appropriate management. So imong laboratory report kay katong mga department na nag-request work. So nag-request sa imong work o katong mga management na mag-keep sa imong mga laboratory reports, sa imong mga results, sa imong mga naobserbahan pod sa imong laboratory report. Then in business and industry, there is hierarchy for reports. It is inappropriate in some organizations to send reports to people above your immediate supervisor without his or her approval on the report. So, dili ka mag-una-una jud og hatag sa top because kailangan pa man nila i-approve or ila pang i-evaluate imong mga writing. So, here So, diri mo yung recommended approach para sa imo kung ikaw kay machine designer. So, your immediate supervisor, your department secretary, your 3 other designers who work on similar projects, your customer contact, the machine shop that builds your machines. So, mo po niyang structural materials sa imuhang pagpasa sa imuhang writings. From you to project engineering manager, production manager, processing engineering manager, manufacturing manager, industrial products, to general manager. So, scope of writing. Scope of writing is kanang so sa imong writing nadyo kay boundaries and extensive coverage for all your writings. So imong scope of writing nadyo kay boundaries, nadyo kay coverage para lang jud sa imong writings. Dili ka mula pa sa imong sa imong gusto ipaabot sa imong readers. If kanang magsulat ka kay basig mabore na pod ang mga readers ug murag malahi pod ang intention sa imong writing. So mo ni siya ang important part sa scope. So number of subject. Most jobs that require written documentation involve multiple tasks. The tasks that need to be addressed in report must be identified. So if nakay buhaton naman jud kay mga daghan na, if nakay buhaton na work naman jud kay mga task ana nga daghan kaayo. If kanang task kanang naalang jud kay specific na task na imong i-address sa imong reports, imo na siyang i-identify para sa imong readers makabalo sila na muna yung highlight na task na imong gusto ipaabot. That needed to be addressed. Then, depth of writing. Too much depth and unnecessary technicalities should be avoided. If at all possible, it is not necessary. It may bore readers and end up eliciting a negative reader's reaction. You need to decide on the appropriate level and depth of the technical presentation for the stated purpose and objectives. So as I said kaganina na if ka nang magsulat ka, kailangan katulad yung mga tama ra jud na mga technical terms o mga tama ra pod ng mga information na imong ibutang sa imong writings kay para dili mo bore og kanang malahi, dili maka-create og confusion o misunderstanding sa readers o ikaw sa writer. So you need to decide appropriate level o kanang press ganina na ang level nimo na sa knowledge ang level sa knowledge sa imong writer ay sa imong reader, kailangan ka-level lang pod sa imong pag-write. Imong writing level, ka-level lang pod sa imong knowledge sa imong readers. So next is level of details. Include enough details so that reader can duplicate and check your test results. So imong mga writings, kailangan if magsulat ka og about sa laboratory, dapat imong isuportaan imong claim na kani siya kay mas okay sa brand A, mas okay sa brand B. So kanang makuan ba sa reader na ay okay kaniya akong gusto ko kaniya ang result, so kaniya akong gusto gamiton para sa akong further sa akong mga sunod na panggamit na mga brand. So kailangan ang mga detail kay kanang dili gud siya detail na kanang taas kayo, kailangan detail po kaayo siya na maka-relate ang reader sa imuhang gipang sulat. So, malang ka ko, sir.
Okay, thank you so much for the report. Ato na siyang i-summarize, no? So, nag-ingon dadto na dapat daw is i-analyze jud nato ang reader. Muna siya jud ang isa sa best na writing strategy is to analyze your reader. Mag-analyze ka sa imong reader, dapat kabalo ka kung sa ang ilahang level sa pagsabot, ana ba? No, dili lang kay namanggoy uban nga magsulat, alright, magbuhat lagi silang writings. Pwede ka paka ang mga English. Pero ang iyang reader kay dili dito appropriate sa iyang reader. Paka iyang English dito ni ang reader kay wala kasabot. So lisod nang ingana no. So dapat ato pong gamitan og mga proper terms. No, motugingon niya nga dapat mogamit ta og appropriate terms. Kung nagsulat ka for engineering, dapat mogamit pug ka og terms nga pang engineering pod. No, kunyari mga voltage, current kana sila. Hindi mo magud kag current kung sa lahi na siya nga field, lahi po pasabot na siya dadto. So dapat mogamit ta og mga appropriate terms no. Ano to siya yung giingon dito. Dapat, ito na yung gina-consider. Selecting leaders, no, kung mamili po tag leaders, no, dapat ato na siyang, anohon, kung para asa to siya, dapat, so, kunyari, katong giingon niya nga, sa supervisor ba to nimo isulat, no, sa secretary ba to nimo siya isulat, depende kung asa nimo paabto ng imuhang write up, or ang imuhang writings. No? Then, scope of writing. So, dapat i-consider na to ang kung sa kalalom na nga to ang writings. No, what siya? Depth of writing. Oh, level of details. So, kung nag-inform lang ka, so, ay, walang pud kayo i-indip pag-ayo, no? For example, naamoy meeting, nagpatawag ka, naghatag kag memo para nga naamoy meeting about sa inyong design. So, dadto sa memo, kung ang imo lang dahil gusto ipaabot is mag-inform lang ka nga naay meeting, so ayaw na ipangsulat dadto ang inyong meetingan nga naka-detail pag-ayo dadto, ayaw na, dadto na siya, during na siya sa meeting. Pero kung ang imuhang gibutang dadto, kunyari ang imuhang write-up is about the minutes sa meeting, so, kana siya, kung minutes sa meeting ang imuhang buhaton, o kana siya, dapat detailed na siya. So, nakadepende sa level of detail ang imuhang write-up or ang imuhang writings. No? I-appropriate na to siya. Ito siyang iyahang topics all about. Nakabay time? Yes, napatay time. So, kinsa ka ba ni mo?
O, sir.
Si Sakayan. Okay, sige daw, Sakayan. Continue with the report. Thank you so much for the first reporter. Percent. Okay. Magaling naman sila gumawa ng mga ng mga presentations ay kulang na lang na og sa tawagan, kulang na lang ang inyong mga presentation, kulang na lang og hasa pa, no? Kaya naman tayo gina-consider like kung pila lang ka words ang dapat na sa to ang isa ka slide na siya. Turn na at least naka na mo naka sige daw. Sige, percent lang diretso. Di siya ma-percent?
Ilan na percent lang lang, sir. Naka-off mo.
Hindi siya ma-percent. Standard.
Wait.
Halata lang. Kasi hinay lang.
Ilag lang na.
Sige daw. Hinay ang ano. Ayan, present na. Ayan. Okay.
Okay, for the continuation of the chapter 4, the writing strategy. So, I am going to discuss the purpose and objective, the 4.3. So, the purpose and objective, this is addressing the word why. So, in this uh, uh, in this topic, we are going to discuss about the purpose and objective. So, it is addressing in writing our documents. So, with the purpose and objectives, so you are showing your intention in writing your documents. Um, as you can see in the chapter goals, so from the previous reporter, ato naman nakita nga uh, na-discuss na diri ang 3 and 4. We are going to understand how to select appropriate readers and understand how to write a particular readership. So this time, siguro ma-address na to ang chapter goals na understand how to develop a writing strategy o ang understand the importance of directing. So most documents are written for a number of reasons, and a definition of these reasons is an essential part of writing strategy. So all documents have a purpose and an objective, and purpose and objective is different from each other. So this time, from the uh, from the from the textbooks na ito mga ginasunod, there is a certain statement na ang mga nagabasa sa atong ginagamit na textbook is that they have struggling in the word purpose and objectives because they thought that purpose and objective mean the same thing. So, looking at the dictionary definitions for purpose and objective, so we can say that they are somewhat similar because purpose and objective uh, is that objective is somewhat synonym for a purpose. So, do lang din sila nga words. So, uh, ma-address na to nga tama ang mga reviewers nga kuan somewhat ang objective and purpose is the same thing. But in technical writing, we need to create our own definitions. So, if we are going to define in technical writing what is a purpose, in technical writing, the stated intention of the document is what is the it is now the definition for a purpose, and for the objective, the definition of objective is that it is the stated outcome of the body of work reported in a document. So next is that we now finish defining what is a purpose and objective. So let us discuss how they fit into writing strategy. So this is now the simplified definition that objectives are the long-term reasons for writing, and the purpose are usually determined strategy. So in this certain example, so we are in this time we are going to tackle about the in most documents by engineers. So the objective of most engineering project is increase company profit. So it is all about talking money. Then the objective of most scientific studies is a finding that adds value to the sponsors or benefits of the world. So somewhat discovery. Then objectives are the long-term reasons for writing. So again ang definition. Then almost always the objective is determined by the sponsors or funding. So somewhat if you have observed in the documents that it is about talking for the funding of the organizations, somewhat it is talking to the objective. Then purpose is more immediate. So you want something to happen as the result of your written document. You may want more funding. Then you may want to present the status of a project, to present final result, or to introduce a new problem. So this is now your purpose. So somewhat purpose is it is in your document you're somewhat presenting your you are somewhat presenting the, for example, the status of the project, then or you are going to introduce new designs. So you are going to show your readers what your intention is. Then uh, whatever you want to achieve by a writing document, the definition of purpose is needed to establish necessary scope. So somewhat it is related to the previous discussion. Then purpose and objective can be part of a document introduction. So, somewhat ma-discuss ni siya sa chapter 6 nga kuan report, but di na nako ni siya i-deep in. So, most likely, ang purpose daw and objective is belong siya sa introductory part sa ito ang document. Then, in addition to the stated purpose or purposes, you may also have a subliminal purpose, such as a race for your good work to get your name better known. So, this word subliminal, it means that uh, relating to things that influence your mind in a way that you do not notice. So, somewhat your purpose, uh, if you create your purpose of your document, so somewhat you try to influence your readers in the way that they do not notice it. So continuing, this subliminal purpose should stay that way. So nakakuan lang siya, dili kay siya highly nga i-present kay nimo. So somewhat you do not let them show through in your writing. So dili kay nimo siya ginapahayag sa imong mga document, but manotice gyapon na nila kung sa gid imong mga purpose sa pagsulat. So next in the 4.4, so writing to various readers. So somewhat it is related to the scope of writing, but in this time we are going to look forward for the categorization of uh, interest. It is based on the categorization based on anticipated interest level. So we have these for the active participants. So these are the uh, following under active participants: the customer, peers, teammates, immediate supervisor. So kung active participants ang mga for active participants ang mga document belong, so mo ni mga possible na mga readers, customers, the peers, teammates. Then for the general interest, the customer management, political customer, your management, then library. So somewhat mo ni mga readers. Then for the public, so mo ni mga certain documents nga mabuhat about the technical journal, e-book, handbook. So mo na siya nga mga readers. Then so those categorization is based on the anticipated interest level. So the people involved with the subject of a document will probably have a high degree of interest. They are likely to be familiar with the technical terms you would like to use. So na-discuss na gamay ang mga technical use nga magamit. So this is an example. So we have for the chemical engineers magazine, is written in chemical engineering jargon. So na mga terms nga ilang ginagamit nga sila lang ang mga nakasabot. So that's why the publishers do not define what a reactor or distillation column is. So they use verbs like catalyze, smack, and hydrogenate without defining them. So kung ang ilahang reader is for the chemical engineers, so wala na nila gina-define pa ang unsaning catalyze, unsaning smell, kay most likely pag chemical engineering ka, so makasabot na ka sa definition na ng mga words. So and that's why it is accepted practice for them. So kung magsulat na ka sa kuan, for non-chemical engineers na, they would be twice as long because of definitions and explanations. So kung dili chemical engineering mo mga readers, so kailangan magiging mo siya butang definitions and explanations para makasabot ang mga readers. So kung butangan po mo siya og definitions and explanation niya mga readers kay engineers, so ang mga ay mga chemical engineers, so ma-boring po sila kung sila na ang magbasa. So most likely they would stop subscribing to the magazine. So mana siyang mahulog na kuan kay mabore naman sila, sabot naman sila itong definition. So writing a technical paper is similar. So if the paper is to be published in a mechanical engineering journal, really using mechanical engineering terms like stress field, resonant frequency, is advisable na without defining them is allowable. Okay? So, interested readers are likely to want more details than general interest readers. The technical depth level of the writing should match the background of the readers. So, kani siyang the depth of level na discuss na ni gamay sa atong previous reporter. So, the table 4.1 shows the readers and writing level for a variety of writing tasks. So, this is the table. So, kung this is the depth of the writing na imong makuhan kung for example, this one, the daily newspaper, so everyone can read it, so pwede tanan. So the criteria lang is that ang butang lang diri sa writing level is high school graduate kan makabasa na niya kuan. So the intention, so most likely ang gibutan diri is profit per stake holder. So most likely ang newspaper siguro is nagadeal siya with business, so mani ang intention na kabutang. So dili na siguro kaya na ko i-discuss og kuan, proceed na ta. So after doing this, write to the lowest level of the person or persons who really need to understand and take action as the result of reading the document. The following illustrates various technical depths in writing. So this is another one example. So this time, i-present diri kung management level lang, so mala niyang explanation kung para lang sa management na kuan, mala niyang detail of writing. This one, I will be on vacation most, somewhat lang din explain niya, vacation siya. If any situation arise, require action from me, please see Barb. She will take care of things in my absence. So, very minimal lang yun ang iyang gisulat. Then, for the correspondence level, so this time, mas detailed na ang iyang kuan. So, makita man niya, mas taas na ang iyang gisulat. Then, on the other example naman sa technical report level, so mas ihapag yung taas ang iyang explanation para mas masabtan yun sa iyang reader. Then, so next, the following illustrates difference in details in writing. So this is the difference in writing details. So this time, kita na to ginasulti sa statement kani siya is most likely pares lang ni siya og thought nga kuan statement but kaning mini details. So ang iyang readers na ginakuanan is that ano ko? Wala ko sa guide. Most likely so mo ni siya ang depth sa detail na sa ato ang report nga ihatag. Then next, so this is now the original form. So somewhat this is a word from the original writer. Then yung gina-discuss is about sa gina-discuss is about sa chemist. So being mga chemist siguro yung mga kuan, it is a research for the chemist and kani siya appropriate ni siya nga style sa pagkasulat for pure chemist rampod, mga pure chemist niya na discuss ani nga statement. Then so kung dili na chemist ang imong kaistorya, so it is being translated. So iyang nga gipagamay ang iyang definition o ang iyang statement uh, about sa chemistry. Then, so, mo siya ang rule nga to makuha diha is that write so that all intended readers can understand. So, kay kung mapansin ang gud nimo, gikan sa original formula diyang gibuhat para sa mga chemist is that um, some readers may not understand the documents because taas na kayo ang explanation. So, kung mahimo nga imo nga pamubuon imo nga explanation, so mo na imo na siyang i-translate into more pure definition uh, kung imo para mahatag nimo ang imong intention nga mas klaro niya makasabot gyud ang mga readers. So, mo siyang rule right so that all intended readers can understand. So, this another example is somewhat addressing for the biasness because sometimes dili man yung tanan makauyon sa imong mga sinulatan, then napoy uban nga dili gid siya into your department. Like example kay dili gid siya ganahan ani nga department nga pagkasulat. So most likely pwede nimo sila i-address nga kuan nga pwede nimo sila buhatan og addressment sa imong nga documents. So you are addressing the kaning mga non into your work. Pwede nimo siya buhatan og address para sa ilaha. Then og kung kuan pod dili na lang pud nimo ihatag ang imong nga documents sa katong mga dili interested sa imong nga kuan work. Kaya most likely ilan lang na i-neglect ang imong mga work. So in summary, this chapter is intended to promote the definition of writing strategy for every technical writing task. So the basic elements of your strategy should be thoughtful consideration of who you want to read your document, then establishment of a document scope and content boundaries. So what you want to cover, then establishment of the purpose, so your immediate intention and objective or your ultimate outcome. So unsa gyud ang outcome sa imong mga gibuhat nga document. So this part, this is a checklist coming from the textbook that we are using. So this is a checklist for writing strategy. So kini siya tips lang ni siya aron na-address ba sa imong mga document ang mga kinahanglanon. So why are you writing this document? Who are the integrants para dili ka mawala sa imong mga pagsulat sa imong mga kuan para ma-detail po nimo kung para kay kinsa gyud ang imong mga ginasulat. So siguro humana sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, no? Sige, na ba may mga questions?
Ay, pangutana, sir. Adon, sir.
Ano ko pangutan na ato? Okay, kahit ito pag-report.
Napas, sir.
Classmates, naabang may classmates, classmates. Na may questions. Ato ang reporter.
Igutong.
So, ano man po, no? Very well
Wala na pa yung
reported. Very well reported na po na to. Thank you so much at mga reporter kay effort sila sa ilahang report. Okay, so, okay na ang inyong medyo nanap ko nakita ang development ba sa kanang sa pag-present good. Wala ko nakita ng mga development kay dati mang good kung labi na first year, second year, kung makitaan dyan ako ang report class, ang kanilang presentation kay very, very dull. Tas, diba? Kung ano ba, nano ko nakita ng mga development sa design, sa font, at least ba, dili ta maulahi, right? Kung magbuhat og magbuhat og presentation, make it presentable jud no, as much as possible. So So far, okay kayo inyong report. And for the previous reporters po, okay po kayo to sila. So if wala nang may question, it's already time. So kindly check your attendance on Keeper, and thank you so much for attending our session, virtual session this morning. And you may now leave the meeting. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Sunod na tayo mag-quiz-quiz.
Sige, bye.
Ay, wala. Hindi. Okay. Wala man ko naka-on og mic. Nagyoyo pa ko dire. Epic fail lang ito. Okay. Wala na ba may mga question? Wala na yung question? Okay, so if wala na yung question, so kindly check your attendance on Keeper. And thank you so much for our reporter, no? Very, very, very informative ang ilang reports. And I saw a great, improvement sa ilang presentation. So, when it comes to the design, so nindot kayo ang nindot na ang ilahang reports. Yes, Lance. Unsa man Lance? Ato ang Lance. Ay, nag-left na si Lance. Okay. So, if wala na yung mga other concerns, so I do hope for the next reporter, no, nindot po ang ilahang presentation kay. Nindot ang atong presentation sa reporters karon. Ang kato po mga nauna, medyo na lang siya mga glitch, pero at least nag-effort sila. Okay? So, if wala na, thank you so much for attending our class, and I do hope that you learned something from our discussion, no, sa mga tong reporters. Okay, if wala na, pwede naman mag-leave sa ito ang meeting.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for the reporters. Thank you, Tanan. Happy eating.
English klase ng dia. Ya. Nga ako, klase ng dia.
Pag